Okay, so, finally got to see the Death of Superman animated film, and I'm gonna share with you guys what I thought of this film. Yeah. So what did I think? I liked it. It's definitely one of the better Superman animated films we've had since Superman vs. the Elite. It does follow this new pseudo New 52 slash Rebirth continuity we're following, but it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good adaptation. I'm really enjoyed a lot of the work in here. It's kind of interesting of what they're doing with the DC films now. Is like these DC animated films. They're like, yeah, we're still following a continuity, but we're kind of not. It's weird like that. So that's what I've been finding interesting so far about this, is that they're just trying to do like whatever fucking fits. So let's talk a bit about this story. If you know Death of Superman, you know this story. But I will say that it does have that added element of, we actually have the Justice League in here. And I mean, like, actual heavy-hitting Justice League, not the team of Justice League we had in the actual comic, where it was like Booster Gold and Maxima and a few other characters. These characters, it's like, it makes you think back to the comic and go, where were you guys on this? You know, it kind of proves that even with the heavy-hitting Justice League, that it wouldn't have mattered, but it would have given, like, Superman a little extra help. Like, yeah, I was like, where were you guys on that? You know, where were you, Batman? Or, you know, where were you, Wonder Woman, when Superman was throwing down and all we had in the Justice League was frickin' Martian Manhunter, who totally went by a different name. It was weird like that. We had Fire... Oh yeah, because Fire and Ice are definitely going to stop Doomsday, right? And and here's the major thing, is that this feels like a Superman story through and through, and it feels like the Justice League stuff just kind of feels like in the background. What I also like in here is, I don't really think there's much to spoil here, so I don't really think there's nothing major to spoil with this animated film. So, yeah, if you've read the comic, then you're, like, halfway there, pal. Also, spoiler alert, Superman fucking dies. I don't know if you're aware of that. But, yeah, it is interesting to note that with this Superman story, is that this definitely feels like a true Superman story of Superman and Lois getting together, and I like how they play off each other in here. Like, I really dig how they play off each other in this story. And it's also funny because, again, Jerry O'Connell, who does the voice of Superman, and Rebecca Romaine, who does the voice of Lois in this story, they're actually married in real life. So I like how they play off each other like an actual... It feels like a married couple to begin with, even though they're not married in this comic. I like that. I like how they play off each other. And it's also like... I just like when superheroes just do regular stuff. Like when the Justice League's having this board meeting... they're just kind of palling around like you would see like at a regular staff meeting you'd see with normal people. Like they're just kind of palling around talking about their day and what's on the to-do list. It was a lot of fun. Also, there's a bit of a joke between Wonder Woman and Batman, where Wonder Woman's like, yeah, Wonder Woman merchandise sold out more than Batman merchandise. I think that's a first. And I'm like, okay, we get it, guys. Okay, guys, we get it. Wonder Woman's pretty much at this point carrying the DCEU. We get it. But yeah, I love that moment where they're all kind of ragging on Batman, and Batman's just glaring at them. And that was a good moment. I like that, you know, Batman's not treated like this uber badass. But going back to the voice acting real quick, I dig Jerry O'Connell as Superman. I thought from the, at first I was like, I don't know, he doesn't really give me that Superman feel. But with the moments, especially with Lois, I was like, yeah, he's not my #1 Superman voice actor, but he's definitely been the best we've had in a while. Of course, you can't beat, Tim Daly and, George Newbern. You can't beat those guys. You know, George Newbern. I actually like George Newbern a little more than I like Tim Daly. I know that sounds really, really like heresy, But I don't know, like George Newbern's voice for Superman, I really dig his Superman, and I really loved it best in, of course, Superman versus the Elite. Anyway, where was I going? Anyway, what I also like about this is that they really sow the seeds for Reign of the Supermen in here, and of course we know that's going to be the next animated film coming from them. And yeah, I love how they sow the seeds for Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, Steel, and Superboy. I really like how they've been playing that. You know, they really sow the seeds rather than just like, oh, here's just 4 random ass Supermen. No, they play it out. Like they show you and really like oh yeah, just wait for the next film. Speaking of also Luthor, having Bill Hader as Bill Hader voicing Lex Luthor in here. Again, I thought I wasn't going to like him, and there are some points where I'm like, he's a little too hamming it up. But honestly, he does a good job. Again, you can't beat Clancy Brown's Luthor. But having said that, though, I really dig Hader's Luthor. It almost feels like you're listening to what's his? Oh God, I am really not having a good day, guys. So I'm trying to like remember names. God damn it. The one from the actor who played Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve films. I can't believe oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. Oh my God, I'm just really got this terrible headache and it's driving me nuts and I can't really think, so I apologize for that. Anyway, but let's get into the other parts of this film, in that Doomsday. Holy shit, guys. Like, whenever Doomsday shows up, it doesn't really have that kind of impact, as, you know, impact, that's funny. Impact it does, like in Superman Doomsday, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, Doomsday. Or like in other animated features, it just feels like Doomsday's there. Oh no! Doomsday, finally, in the animated films, feels like it's a credible threat. Like, Doomsday, like, it feels like a credible threat through and through, and this film does get a little bloody, but it's not like in past DC animated films where it just goes really overboard. Like when Doomsday shows up and fucking murders people, it doesn't feel like overboard. Like I was expecting the entire time, like it's gonna go overboard. Like the most it does is actually the opening scene where you see him kill some Atlanteans. That's about it. But other than that, yeah, this has been the tame. It's been a while. Like it doesn't feel like it was trying to be an R-rated film. But you can clearly see that, yeah, Doomsday murders everything he sees, so it makes sense that he's going to be, you know, it's going to be a little gory when he's around. But it's not, like, overboard, like sometimes these animated films tend to do. And the fights in here, wow, you can clearly see where the animation budget went to, because a lot of these fights, not just with Superman and Doomsday one-on-one, but with Doomsday taking on the Justice League, they are really some well-animated fights. Like, these are some nice-ass animated fights. And when Superman and Doomsday throw down, god damn does the animation budget really, like, again, like, you see where the animation budget really really shines in this animated film. I also like how this really plays to Clark and Superman's, you know, what makes him that character, you know, what makes him, you know, such an endearing character. Like, there's moments in here that made you go, man, this movie totally showed up Man of Steel, not just in action, but of what is Superman. Like, you've got Superman, like, stopping what he's doing, fighting Doomsday, he's bloodied, and he's trying to save a kid from being crushed on a bridge. That's what Superman is. Like, if Superman had done that once in Man of Steel, like, people would have been a lot more cooler with that film, I feel like. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, you've got multiple moments where Superman is just, you know, stopping what he's doing to just be Superman. And I love the interactions between, you know, of how well they handle Clark Kent and Superman as, you know, one and the same. Because a lot of people forget that, yeah, it's possible to do Superman and, you know, because a lot of people treat them like, really dissociate the two characters. When really, yeah, it's like this movie realized, and maybe it's because of Peter J. Tomasi, yeah, Tomasi wrote this film, which I didn't realize until I was watching the credits, and I was like, oh shit, Tomasi wrote this. That's why it's so good. that's what I like. Because again, Tomasi wrote some damn good Superman Rebirth stuff. So I was like, oh my god, they got someone who got Superman. What a fucking concept, right? So, yeah, I was hoping for a Super Sons reference, but maybe we'll get a little of that with Superboy in Reign of the Supermen. Which, actually, funny enough, apparently, from what I was watching a behind the scenes for Reign of the Supermen, apparently Superboy's going to be voiced by the actor who plays Jerome, aka Joker, from Gotham. So that's a whole other thing right there, guys. But anyway, so this was I really enjoyed this, and I'm usually, like, I like a lot of the DC animated films, but I never, like, they usually range from good to just, oh man, this was awful. There's no in-between, but definitely this has been my favorite this is now my favorite of the new era of these DC animated films. You can't beat Under the Red Hood and Superman vs. the Elite. Those are like the two top tier ones. And I know what you're saying. What about Return of the Joker? Okay, Return of the Joker was before we started doing these animated films on a yearly basis. That's what I'm trying to say. But out of these direct DVD things, like the top two are Under the Red Hood and Superman vs. the Elite. That's for me. But now, like, Death of Superman of these new these new DC animated films, yeah, really good. So I've got and hopefully they can really make Reign of the Supermen good, because let's be honest, no one gives a shit about Reign of the Supermen. The only reason we care about it is because, and I know Green Lantern's going to be in here, so I've got a feeling that we're going to, I've got a weird feeling that we're going to have the destruction of Coast City, and maybe, just maybe, what's going to be following next is Emerald Twilight. I've got a weird feeling that the next big animated film for the following year is going to be like Emerald Twilight, but that's just me. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Death of Superman, if you've seen it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.